All right, so if you are a beginner entrepreneur, this is a video that will probably save you years and years of mistakes. And I'll be honest with you, I've been in business for over 5 years, probably around 6 or 7 years. I've been in legitimate business. I'm not just a YouTuber that's talking about business that just has a business based around YouTube, right? No, I've been doing business before I started my YouTube journey about a month and a half or 2 months ago at this point. So a lot of what I'm going to be telling you is through like harsh realities that I've faced as an entrepreneur in many different business models. And I can walk you through like what that really looked like. Like, so when I graduated college, I went to Babson College, which is one of the top entrepreneurial schools in the country. And that's actually where I started my first business, which was my personal training business. So I had a personal training business that I ran for a while. I had rented out gym space and I was actually training clients within that space, and I was getting paid way more money than I could even imagine. That was my first ever service-based business that I did live, right? But after that point, I actually ended up going into a tech company, a software, an IT computer software company that was based out in Switzerland, and I did a lot of business development there, learned a lot about how to generate leads, what that looked like to take them, what the sales cycles look like from a software perspective. Then I went and I built a startup, right? From that point, because I built a startup around talent acquisition. At the time, the company that I was working for, there was 7 African-American people out of a 750 person company, like globally. And I realized that the talent acquisition process to be able to take on more minorities was lacking, right? That was my vision at the time. So I wanted to build this social network for Black professionals to help them actually be able to recruit more talent. And I was able to garner a lot of support from just doing that. And I built a team around that. Now, I made a pivot along the lines because I realized, well, the business model was not correct. I didn't have any way to monetize it. I wanted to be Mark Zuckerberg, trying to create some sort of like a huge like social network tech company like Facebook. I wanted to be the next Facebook, and quickly realized that you need a business model. You need to get paid. That's what investors want to see. How are you going to make money? So I ended up pivoting into a talent acquisition marketplace with my team. We had about 4 people, or 1, 2, 3. Yeah, at the time it was like 4 people, and then it was not including myself, so that's 5. We ended up cutting 1 person, so then that was about 4 people total. And so, the way that we built this now was a talent marketplace where companies could actually hire talent through other people's personal networks. So for example, if me or you had like a contact list full of people, that company could then tap into the imported contact list that you put into the marketplace. And from there, they would be able to hire talent, and they'd be able to pay you like $3,000 to $5,000 for that talent, because we were targeting tech companies who were hiring engineers, they were hiring salespeople, they were hiring marketing people, all of that, and they were paying top dollar. So we knew that the referral money would be a lot, and we took 10%, 10 to 15% of all of the transactions of the referral bonuses that were issued. Now, going through this process, we built a web application and we built a mobile application. We were in the App Store. It was called SoCo, right? I don't know, you might be able to see some things on it online, I'm not sure. But either way, I went through Techstars with my team, which is one of the top tech accelerators in the country. It's number 2 to Y Combinator. You can look all of this up, it's insane. And we went through a blitz process of fundraising, right? We raised a couple $100,000. We burned a lot of it just trying to build a product that, didn't necessarily have a lot of room, right? Like, it didn't really have a specific use case. We built it before we tested it out in the market. So this is the first thing that you need to learn as a beginner entrepreneur. Again, there's many other businesses that I could talk about, but this one specifically, one, you need to understand whether you want to build a team or you want to have a solo business. I highly recommend when you first start, have a solo business, because building a team requires you to be a leader. I was a premature leader. I was pretty good at leading at the time, but I wish I would have started having a 1-person business, which I did, which was a personal training business. But right now, I'm talking more like online, like technology, like being able to make money online, like learn a skill. That's one thing I wish I would have learned when I was an entrepreneur, was to learn a skill. But I'm going to get into the lessons after I give you my journey. But while I was building this tech company, what I failed to mention was I actually partnered up with two other of my friends, right? And we built this lead gen agency. And this was to help me get some cash flow to build this tech company, because I had left my previous company to start this tech company. And I had like 30 or 40 grand in the bank. And I was like, oh, I'll let this stretch until we raise. I thought raising money would be a breeze. 6 months, I'd be able to be good. Took way longer than that. It took way more than over a year, almost 2 years, to like actually raise some money and actually have some money in the bank and be able to do what we needed to do. And so, I worked with my other two co-founders for the lead gen agency, and we built it up. And by the time I left, we were probably doing about 30 to 40 grand a month, right? Just with this lead gen agency month to month right now. So I had exited to go full time once we got into Techstars for SoCo. So the lead generation company, Leadbird, you can still look it up today. It's still around leadbird.io. It now is doing around 7 figures right now a year. So it definitely scaled tremendously. I'm out of it, of course, but I learned a lot about lead generation. I learned a lot about agency work as well. I learned a lot about like what are the different things that you need to look out for when you do build an agency. So I'm going to go over a lot of these lessons as well. This will be a hefty video. So I hope you're enjoying this so far, the stories that I'm giving you. But essentially, going back to lessons, you need to really understand what business model you really want to start with. And the reason why I say this is because there's so many business models on the internet right now. And to be honest with you, every single one of them works. Drop shipping works. Any type of e-commerce, building an actual brand works. Coaching works, high ticket coaching works. Consulting works, freelancing works. All of these different models work, right? Building a startup works, but you also have to work, right? You have to be developed enough as an entrepreneur to make these things happen. You have to have grit. You cannot slack off, right? You have to just pick one and know that it will work as long as you work. The biggest thing that entrepreneurs, especially myself when I was starting out, and even as I was moving forward after those two ventures and I was trying to figure out what my next move was before I started online fitness coaching, I was like, man, there's so many business models. I was trying so many different things. I was trying trading. I tried e-commerce. I tried all kinds of things. And I really wasted time. Yes, did I learn a lot from it? And did I learn important skills? Absolutely. But I wasted time. You need to stick with one model and go for it. If the tech company didn't fail, if I didn't just close it down because it wasn't working, just to move on to the next thing, I could have potentially made it work. The reason why it didn't work, I could say, oh, well, tech companies stopped hiring in 2022. So obviously, the business failed. But I have to also come to the realization, and entrepreneurship is all about radical accountability. I failed as a person, which is why the business failed, right? I wasn't developed enough to build a $1 billion tech company. I wasn't developed enough to even build a multi-million-dollar tech company. It was my first ever company that I built, and I was learning how to build infrastructure. I was learning how to manage a team of senior level people in their respective careers, like people who are 35 and older, 55 and older, et cetera, or 50 years old and older. Like, I was really managing these people. And, a lot of the times I got imposter syndrome, right? And because I was like, man, look at little old me at 24 years old. I'm managing these people. Like, man, what's going on? But they respected me, right? Because I knew how to carry myself and I understood what I was doing. I had studied a lot of CEOs. I had studied a lot of things. But going back to the point, you need to pick one business model and go, and know that you need to develop yourself as you're building that business model so it can work, because all business models work. Nothing is saturated. The only thing that's saturated is the amount of people who have not developed themselves in entrepreneurship. That's the reality of the game. They haven't developed their skill set. They haven't developed their sense of problem solving. They haven't really established a skill set of leadership, right? To build teams to scale. So that's the first big piece of advice that you need to know if you're beginning this entrepreneurial journey. It is a journey of self-development, if anything else. As you develop yourself, your business will never develop faster than you develop as a person. So you need to make sure that you are developing yourself at a high level so that your business can continue to thrive. The next thing that you need to understand is it is important to find businesses with low investment requirements. my first official business was my personal training company, which was, I started it with $0. Well, started it with $300 because I was thinking I was paying like $300 a month for the space that I was renting out or something like that for my, no, actually it was $500 a month for the space that I was renting for training. But when it comes to other business models, you don't need money to start these things anymore, right? For e-commerce, you probably need maybe $100, $200 to just buy some of the products so you can post on TikTok. Like, there's very little capital that's needed. Software, on the other hand, like tech startups, there used to be money that you needed. You had to go raise money, millions of dollars, to be able to even start. But now, because of low code, no code, you can actually start these software products that you can build for your company for very little to no money. And you can do it yourself. You don't need to go hire an engineer or waste equity on anything, right? So you need to actually figure out like what business model you really want to do, and don't spend any money on it. I challenge you, find a business model to where you don't need to spend any money and just see if you can make some money from it. But the next big thing that I want to say is, once you get money from your business, always reinvest it back into the business for growth. I fell into this trap when I actually built my online fitness coaching business after the tech company had failed. Now, when the tech company had failed, I had spiraled into rapid depression because my identity was wrapped around the business. Another thing is, do not wrap your identity around a business. A business is what it is, a business. It is not something that defines you. It's not something that should be attached to you, like on your hip. It's not your baby. It is a vehicle for growth. It's a vehicle for impact. That's all it is. And you happen to be driving that vehicle. So a lot of entrepreneurs will not understand this, the fact that you're new, but as you move forward, start to remember this if you're building a really big vision. But you also need to reinvest back into your business, right? Do not take all the money out just to use so you can, have a good lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. Don't do that. Actually, like, be a person who is like reinvesting back into their business for growth, and you're actually like doing it with happiness, because you have to understand, as the business grows more, you're going to make more money. When you make more money, you'll be able to pull a little bit more money out for yourself and leave some money in for the business, right? I didn't understand this. Like fitness coaching, I got it up to about $10,000 to $12,000 a month, and I quickly burned that because not only did I not reinvest it back into hiring a virtual assistant to be able to do the lead generation tasks that I didn't want to do, to be able to get more leads, to close more deals, but I also didn't reinvest in another coach to be able to fulfill for my clients. So I was stuck with about 50 clients, right, that I was managing. And on top of that, I had no more money coming in because a lot of them had paid in full. So now I'm stuck and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, and I'm making no money. And the business is basically failing because I'm not having the time to be able to manage all of these clients. I don't have the time for lead gen. I don't have the time for sales calls. I have the time for sales calls and all of that, but like things have to be spread thin, right? So I'm not able to perform excessively well at any which one of these different things. So you always have to try to reinvest back in the business. Even if you make your first like $1,000 for the month, figure out what part of your business do you need to grow that you can invest in. Maybe you invest in ads, or you invest in a course to learn how to do ads, or you just invest in ads to experiment with, right? To try for yourself. But always look to reinvest back in your business because it is your growth vehicle. It's like a stock, right? And that's another thing. Don't worry, especially when you are an entrepreneur, do not worry about trading stocks. Don't worry about investing in crypto right now. Those are all flashing lights. All you need to focus on is the business that you're building. You need to focus on having that business grow. You need to focus on reinvesting back into that business. That business is your stock. That business is what you invest in. It's not going into the S&P 500 and investing in stocks and hoping that blows up while you build this business. No, reinvest what you need back in the business, because your return for that investment that you put in the business will be significantly higher than the 8% that you're going to make in the stock market for the year, right? Like you'll probably make 200, 300, 400% on your business if you invested in the right growth levers within your business, whether it be paid acquisition, whether it be a key hire that can help you with lead generation to drive more leads, or to help you with fulfillment, to save you time with fulfillment and you focus on leads and sales. So yeah, don't be afraid to reinvest in your business, and don't spread yourself too thin. Don't work on 5 businesses at once. I was also a victim of this. Working on 5 businesses at once is a surefire way to fail because you will never actually focus on one and you'll never actually see massive results. I've done pretty well managing 3 businesses at one time, but I could have done exceptionally well and I would have been way further along in my entrepreneurial career and made way more money if I just tripled down on one business. So don't try to juggle multiple businesses. Just stick with one and go all in on that one. Unless you have teams built around you to be able to manage the major functions of the other businesses. If it's just you, do not do 3 one-person businesses. It is literally going to destroy you. And you will be upset, you will be depressed because nothing will work. Not one of those businesses will succeed. Right? So you also have to understand that what you see online is not the reality. The entrepreneurs that you see that are like, hey, I made $1 million this month. What they're not telling you is that's not net. That's the revenue that they made, especially if it's drop shipping, if it's e-commerce. There are significantly lower margins in the e-commerce business depending on what product you pick. So they could have generated $1 million in revenue, but they could have taken home $10,000, right? Which is still pretty good money, right? But what I'm saying is, do not listen to what you see on the internet. Don't listen to the person that says, oh, they can teach you how to start a business and start making 10K a month in less than a month. Like, no, that's not how that works, right? You're going through the journey yourself. You're going to find out that a lot of these people on the internet are BSing you. I know because I've actually been a part of a lot of the business models and I understand how business works. And I know that you can't just wake up and start making $1 million a month. You can't just wake up and start making even $10,000 a month. It is a process. When I first started my online fitness coaching business, my first ever month, I made about $3,000 or $4,000, right? Which was out of the norm. It's not normal, right? But I understand how to sell. I've had previous business experience with more complex business structures. So having a simplified business structure like that made it significantly easy for me. But for you, because you're a brand new person in business, or maybe you're just getting started, you have maybe one other failed business under your belt, you need to understand that it's going to take time. You're not going to be a millionaire overnight. It's going to take time. And you need to be okay with that. And you need to bide that time. Think of entrepreneurship like a game of growth for yourself and for the business. The more you think about it like that, the less you're going to be concerned about the results. Detach yourself from the results, right? This is from the law of detachment. Detach yourself from the results and attach yourself to the process. Attach yourself to the process of what you're doing within the business, how you're developing yourself, what you're reading, how your mind is developing, how your discipline is developing. It's like playing a sport. You really see a higher level of yourself when you start getting into real entrepreneurship. So another tip that I want to give you, or something else that you need to know that will shorten the time of improvement and you won't suffer as much as I did, is you need to find a business with high margins. Typically that's coaching, consulting, because you can do info products, you can do these things with $0. The minute you go into a business where the margins are very slim, you have to hire a lot of people to even get a sale, to even like fulfill a service, you're not going to feel like you're even an entrepreneur at a certain point. You're going to feel like, wow, this is like a job that I'm barely getting paid and all these people have to get paid. The service is getting done, but literally my profit is about $1,000 a month, but we're making $30,000 a month, or my profit is $5,000 a month, but we're making $30,000. That's weird. It is a part of entrepreneurship if you do choose that, but I do recommend when you first start, don't start with a complicated business model. Start with something that you can do by yourself so you can start making money. The biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs make, and I made when I first started, I started a business that took a lot of time to grow, that took a lot of time to even raise money, and was a very complex business by nature, right? Software startups are complex businesses by nature. I chose that. What you need to do is pick a business that is not complicated. All you need to do is learn a skill, sell that skill to someone who needs it, and close the deal, and you pocket the money and you perform that skill. That is the easiest business model. The freelancing and consulting model, perfect business. A consulting business is the perfect business to start, because what's going to happen is you're going to start generating cash in your pocket. So when you have money in your pocket, and let's say you're able to generate $100,000 off of just consulting after a year or a year and a half, you can now pursue the next level of business, which would probably be an agency where you outsource a lot of what you're consulting people for to another person for a cheaper rate, most likely overseas, make the difference. Now you're saving time, right? So you need to evolve yourself through the business models before you get into going for the hardest one, which is software. So after agency, you can say, okay, cool. Now let me teach other people how to build agencies. So now you're a coach to teach other people how to build their own agencies. Boom. You have that business model, the high ticket coaching model. You're making thousands and thousands of dollars every month off of that, right? On top of the agency that you have that's still running, on top of the consulting business turned into the agency. Now you can create a software company for the agency that you built. So the processes that you have, you can turn them into a product that people can use. A productized service is what they call it. And now you have a chain of businesses that work within each other. This is almost like what Iman Gadzhi does, right? So you have to be a person who can evolve with your business and take it step by step, but always start with the simplest business model, which is freelancing and consulting, because you can take that money and you'll be safe enough to where you will have a batch of money to be able to get into the next business that may require some capital to start off. And you won't feel like your back is against the wall. Even though being back against the wall is a great growth playground, when you're like risking everything or you have no money and you're trying to make it, like I've done that before, like you can do that and it works and you'll develop significantly faster. That's how I've developed significantly faster. But the most practical way is to start making money as a consultant, as a freelancer, and then using that money to reinvest in a more complex business and still having that skill set, still having that type of business to continue to sustain you as you build other businesses, right? So those are the steps. And if you're a beginner in entrepreneurship, do not have shiny object syndrome. Always reinvest in your business. Shiny object syndrome is just seeing a bunch of different business models and wanting to try every single one. Pick one, master it, build wealth from it, right? Evolve, reinvest back in your business, evolve with the business, evolve with the business models, improve the business, right? And just continue to self-improve throughout the process. Know that your business will not grow faster than you grow yourself. So you need to make sure that you do that and take care of your health too. Business is a very destructive sport. It's a destructive sport and you need to have health reserves during that process to be able to sustain. And that's the best way to do it, is to get in shape as soon as you possibly can so you can sustain the long game of business. So for me, myself now, there's two businesses that I run, ironically. It's a tech company. It's a cybersecurity company for blockchain, right? We're doing that. That's a whole another video on how that was built up. And this YouTube that I'm doing, right? Jacked University, coming soon, by the way. If you join my email list, you will see it. But I'm creating a really big movement here on YouTube with the people that have been rocking with me for a minute. And I'm excited to release that as well. So those are the two big things that I'm doing right now that I'm very excited for. And I'm excited to include people into that vision that I have for myself. But I hope this video helps you as a beginner entrepreneur to really see the reality of it and understand that it's not going to be easy, but it'll be the best experience of your life and you will develop faster than most of your peers who are not doing that, who are working 9-to-5 jobs. Again, nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5 job. I think you can actually start a business while working at a 9-to-5 job. That is the most practical thing to do as well. That's a disclaimer. So I'm not saying that, working 9-to-5 is bad. I hate when people say that because it's not true. It's safe and you make money. Like, just keep building businesses while you do it. Always have that fire, right? That's really what matters. But I hope you found value in this. Comment, like, subscribe, share it with a friend who's looking to start a business so they can kind of hear some of the lessons that I gave. There are a lot more lessons that I can give, but I don't want to give you like a 2-hour long video, especially when I had to go over like my background so you understood that I actually know how to run businesses. But I appreciate you and I'll see you on the next video. Again, make sure you sign up to that free email newsletter that I'll have linked to the bottom, and you will get a notification when Jacked University arrives, which will be very shortly, very soon, and we will get things moving. Alrighty, have a good rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video.